Hitkariji, Shivoham, Samita, Sudeep, Bhargava, Raju, Leena and Mutkuranand, Shivoham, Ashok Chotwani, Reena, Veena, Shivoham, Dattatray, Alok, Bridget, Karthik, Shivoham, and welcome to the call. Shivashankar, Yoga Narasimhan, Girish, and the others who I cannot see. Shiva. So, my dear friends, today we have an interesting question. I don't know how many of you have attempted this question. All of you are walking on the path of enlightenment. This is the ultimate goal of life. We are here to achieve something which is very deep and profound. It is much more important than anything else that one can seek in this world. But the point is that not everybody understands what is the enlightenment journey all about. How many people actually understand what is it and what holds us back? What is it that actually holds us back when we are trying to attain enlightenment? There are some things. In fact, in today's talk, what are we talking about? We are talking about three very important blockages. What are the three blockages? As a message sent you, what are the three things that hold us back from attaining God? Some people get confused. They say, what has God got to do? Well, enlightenment and God realization is one and the same. So how do you attain God? God is not the statue that you see in the temple, right? God is somebody who is everywhere, in everything. But we have to understand the true meaning of God. And how do you become one with God? And what are the three things that are roadblocks? Anybody wants to attempt? I'm sure some of you know it. But if those who already know it should not answer. Because if you know it from me, then there's no point in answering. But what are the three blockages to attain enlightenment and God? Those who have not heard it from me may please attempt. Anybody knows?
Kumaraswamy.
Yes, Kumar Swami.
Kumaraswamy, sir, Guruji, Kumaraswamy want to.
We
There's
can't
three
hear.
blockages
I can't hear.
for realizing the God is body,
Yes.
mind, and ego.
Body, mind, and ego.
Sir, body, mind, and ego are three blockages to not get an enlightenment.
Very good.
Because body have a senses. With the senses, we will sense something in the world. So that sense will give a mind activation. So when mind activates, your desire starts. If desire starts means your actions will be there. When actions are there, automatically your karma will be there. When karma is there, automatically your rebirth will be there. So you will not going towards the path of enlightenment. You are going towards the path of this rebirth the cycle.
Good. What you say is right.
So this is the understanding.
Yeah. So what you say is 100% right. That's why I said I want somebody who has not heard it from me. I want that person to give the answer. But anybody else? Thank you, Kumar Swami. Your answer is right. But today I'm going to give you something new. So you please wait for my answer.
Okay.
Who else wants to try, please? Who else wants to try? What are the three things that can hold you back from God, from enlightenment, from realization, from salvation, mukti, nirvana, moksha? What are the three things?
Sir, can I give the answer? Maybe
But you know it, or you're going to say it from.
No, I remember one thing that you told me. That's why I'm just asking you, should I?
No, you should not, because you must have heard it from me.
Okay, then I'll keep quiet. Okay.
You give it last. If nobody else gives it, then I'll let you answer it.
Sure, sir.
Okay.
Sure.
Anybody else wants to try?
So can I try?
Yes, please.
I think it could be material attachment. It could be responsibilities, baggage of attachments, material wealth. Any kind of attachment, any kind of bondage is definitely an obstacle towards enlightenment, because we are not able to detach. We're not able to
absolutely right.
distance.
Absolutely right.
Anything which comes in that category probably is an obstacle.
You're absolutely right. That's one. Any two more?
It could be our own laziness. Maybe we don't want to overcome. Maybe we have adjusted and made ourselves comfortable with our own problems. People sometimes they
comfort
love to brag about their problems. They love the sympathy of
As
it.
you're talking about a comfort zone and
Yes.
being self-pity is also what you're talking.
Yes. Low
Good.
courage to take that leap of trust.
Okay, so Reena, good attempt, Reena. You are right, and also you will take home something with the answer. But Sudeep, I'll let you give the answer. Sudeep, go ahead and give the answer if you remember it.
So if I remember correctly, that's duty, lust, and shame. Reena ji has already talked about duty.
Yeah.
Lust and shame would be the other two.
Okay, Kumar Swami, please capture this, Kumar Swami, and the rest of you. When my Guruji gave me this answer, when my spiritual master gave me, I was flabbergasted. I said, how can this be true? Then he explained to me, and I'm trying to explain to you. 3 things that can hold you back from attaining God. 3 things that can hold you back from enlightenment is duty. Gautam, please make note, Gautam. Duty. Lust. Lust may be woman, wealth, and wine. Any kind of lust. And shame. हाँ, हितकारी जी, लोग क्या कहते हैं? अरे लोग क्या कहेंगे यार? अगर मैं ऐसे करूंगा तो लोग क्या करेंगे? Is it not true that we are so worried about what people will think? When my master told me, wear white clothes. My master didn't ask me for many things in my life. One thing he asked me, he said, will you please wear white? He asked me. It will look nice on you. Will you wear white? And I gave up color clothes. But when I gave up, my family questioned me so much. My family questioned me, what will people think of you? You're not very, what about all your hundreds of jeans and your colorful suits and I had about 1,000 ties. I had 1,000 ties. Each tie had a printed message, a quote. My ties is an exhibition by itself. What will people say? People think of you as a person who spreads positive energy through the ties. Every shirt of mine had a quote printed on the back of it. I had hundreds and hundreds of shirts. But I gave it up. I gave it up, and I am now realizing. So shame can hold us back. Lust is a big issue. And lust comes from what Kumar Swami said, body, mind, and ego, right? Body, mind, and ego get caught in lust. But can you believe duty? Can you all believe that duty can be one of the bottlenecks towards enlightenment? A lot of people I know, they are caught in duty. Oh, I have a duty. But they don't remember what is the biggest duty. What is the biggest duty of your life? You have to stop and ask yourself the question, what is my life's most important duty? Bigger than the smaller duties. We are thinking of our earthly duty. And I'm not saying we don't have to ignore all our duties. Look at this. We have to be able to do our duty in a manner where we are not stopped from enlightenment, stopped from liberation and unification. So you must do your duty. Please don't say, I will stop doing my duty. No, you must do your duty. But let the duty not become a bottleneck. Let it not be a stumbling block to reaching destination enlightenment. So today we are talking of 3 important things. What are the 3 important things? Duty, lust, and shame. So my dear friends, with that, we will move on to questions. Do we have questions? Jyotri's question, please. Yeah, read it, please. Jyotri is asking a question. As he said, the priority is those who are video live. Second is audio live. Third is typed question. Fourth is social media. As we know, that desire, craving, lust can deprive us from attaining enlightenment. Can competitive spirit also lead to the same? Of course. But Jyotri, please understand, what is this competitive spirit? Competitive spirit is very bad for enlightenment, because what does competitive spirit do? It gives birth to the ego. Competitive spirit is you are competing from A to B. So if I compete with Sudeep, I think me and Sudeep are different. The moment I think I'm different from Sudeep, I bring about what is called Dvaita. Dvaita is the roadblock from Advaita. Advaita means non-duality. Advaita is what is the way to ultimate goal of moksha, nirvana, enlightenment. Therefore, what are you competing for? Jyotri, what are you competing for? What is ignorance? Ignorance is not realizing that nothing will belong to us. If I compete with you and I am better than you, for how long? When I go, nothing is mine. That is the ultimate truth. But do we realize this truth? Therefore, every day on this call, you have to, I don't know if you all are doing this or not, but if I were one of you, I would do one thing. I would open a small notebook and I would note whatever I'm doing. How many of you have a notebook and every day you make notes? I can see Samita holding a pen, Hitkariji holding a pen. This is an amazing secret because this is your evaluation and your notifications to yourself. But if you have a small notebook, this will help you a lot. I don't know how many of you else, I only saw 2 hands going up because I can't see all of you on the screen. But if you have a small notebook and you make notes, I may be gone tomorrow. I don't know how long I'll be here, right? I'll be here as long as I'm supposed to be here. But then tomorrow, your journey doesn't stop if I go. Remember this. You should know that your journey doesn't
Where
stop.
you are going to live longer.
Arey, that is not in your hand or my hand. I'm just saying we do not know. We do not know when we have to go. And we have to surrender. We have to accept the divine will. When the time comes, it's okay. So, okay. With that note, let's move on to the next question. Who's asking us the next question?
Chandra from Facebook.
Yes. Can I have the question, please? The question from Chandra is, who am I? Reality or illusion? So a lot of people have them these days. I'm not able to cope with the social media question. There are many questions, too many questions. But this is the question, who am I? Am I reality or illusion? So obviously, if you tell anybody in the world, they will say, obviously, I am reality. No, can't you see? I am reality. What is your doubt? But the point is this. The point is that we human beings, we appear to be what we appear to be. What Kumar Swami said, body, mind, ego. But then if we are the body, then why do we burn the body? Why do we burn the body? We burn the body because that's not who we are. The fact is we are not the body, we are something else. But we don't realize this. And what is an illusion? I don't know if some of you have captured that. I love to say it in Hindi, though Bridget will not understand. In Hindi we say, Mithya ka matlab kya hai? दिखता सच पर वो ना है, जैसे अंगूठी दिखती अंगूठी पर, सच में अंगूठी ना है, अंगूठी से अगर हम सोना निकाले तो फिर वो कहाँ है, सोना अगर निकल जाए अंगूठी ना है, अंगूठी तो ये मिथ्य है. So वैसे ही जग में सब कुछ मिथ्या, प्रभु ही एक जो सत्य है. The only reality in life is the divine. We are all illusions. We all appear, but while we appear, we are not real. We come and we go. So this is what we have to understand is the reality, that the divine manifests as all you, me, everybody. And we have to get to that point of realization.
Next question, Mukesh from Facebook.
Okay. So the next question is from Mukesh. And Mukesh's question is, how do we know? But before I jump into Mukesh's question, Alok, you had something to say yesterday. So if Alok wants to say something, Alok had requested for some time. So I'm preparing you for the next, Alok, after this question, if there's something that you want to say. Alok had requested to be given a chance to say something. So I'm giving you a minute to prepare yourself.
I don't
So-
have an the question, sorry.
Huh?
I don't
You have,
know. What
you
was
have
the-
questions or you have answers?
No, yesterday's question, I just asked you if I've been enlightened since 2012. So what was the topic we're talking about?
So when you say you've been enlightened, so let me provoke you. What do you mean by you have been enlightened?
Now everybody has a different opinion upon enlightenment. Like everyone's experience is different.
That's why I'm asking you.
So for me, my experience was I saw the divine in everyone and everywhere, and the realization of I am Aham Brahmasmi. I'm the divine, and around me everyone else is also divine.
Okay. So can I ask you a question for the benefit of everybody else? And this is a very humble discussion. Please take it with all earnestness, right? So when I told my guru something like what you're telling me, you know what my guru told me? My guru told me, you have the knowledge of it, but you are still one step away from it. So I didn't understand and I asked my guru, what do you mean? So he said, I look at your lifestyle and I can tell you you're one step away from it. So tell me, Alok, what do you do all day long? What is your occupation? I'm using the word occupation or profession. What do you do all day long?
I work as a day trade in the US stock market, and also I do yoga and meditation. I'm a hatha yoga teacher basically.
Okay. And tell me 10 things that you have, because it's an interesting discussion for everybody who is on this path of enlightenment. So I hope you all are giving me the permission to, I am asking Alok these questions.
Yeah.
So Alok, tell me, what are the 10 things that you have realized? Can you tell me, you must be having something on your fingertips. So can you share with me, what are the 10 things that you have realized?
Basically, if you look at it, it's not like I'm counting things. It's just things happen in my life. Like for me, I don't have to work for things anymore. Things just happen effortlessly. Because now when you realize कि सब में भगवान है, तो you just know that the divine takes care of you naturally. Even if you don't work for it, things just happen. So if you look at my life, things just keep happening without me thinking. कबीर बोलता है ना, जब मैं था तब हरि नहीं, अब हरि है मैं नहीं. So I don't feel that I'm anymore. The divine is working through me. Whether I have to wake up, whether I have to sleep, whether anything happens, whether relationships come, relationship goes, it's just a divine leela happening around my life. I don't get affected by it. I would say that anything happens, there's zero effect, there's zero effectiveness, there is zero contribution from my hand, still things happen. So it's just like a leela, just life is going on in a very smooth play. So I don't have to literally work for anything. I just have to, it just keeps happening. That's how life is.
So that is a big blessing. You must be grateful that if you've reached that level where you feel, right? So what you need to do is, I think that specifically because you're on this call practically every day, so whenever you have an extra perspective, come and contribute your perspective to what is happening. I'm sure you must be having extra thoughts. See, let me share with you. Enlightenment is not a brand. It's not something to be proud about. Correct? You understand that?
I know
because when if there's enlightenment, what do we realize? We're all the same. What you just said, everybody is one and the same.
Absolutely.
Somebody may be 20% on the grid, somebody may be 90% on the grid, somebody may be 99% on the grid. But I think that I'm happy to hear what you say, but I don't know enough of you to make any other comment further now. All you said yesterday is that you would like to be heard, right? So I'm saying, whenever you have something to share, please, I'll be happy for you to take a couple of moments and share.
Absolutely.
So you be ready on a particular subject. Whenever there's a small thing that you would like to share, we would all like to listen to your perspective, because this group is here for everybody who wants to move forward on that path. Correct? Let me ask you a question today. What do you think of these 3 blockages that stop us from enlightenment or from God? Duty, lust, and shame. What are your thoughts?
I would say I have a different perspective on this. What I say that first establish yourself in yoga and then act. So once you're an enlightened being, all these things is just irrelevant. Even if lust happens, your lust should not be a blockage for your enlightenment. Like let's say, like for example, now let's say Buddha's enlightened. Let's say, and he feels something for a woman or whatever his preference is. And if that lust deviates him from his enlightenment, he's not enlightened then. Enlightenment is just a state of being. So for me, what I believe is that if anything, if you become enlightenment, and if any kind of lust or greed or fear deviates you from enlightenment, it means you're never enlightened. First, establish yourself in yoga and then act. So that's what I believe enlightenment is.
Okay, good. So I'm happy that if anybody wants to make a comment, you can. But we have great respect for everybody on this group. That's why this Friday's talk is on the enlightenment grid. And when I started my journey in 2012-13, I was at 0. And I moved up 10, 20, 30, 40. I don't know where I am now, but I kept climbing up that ladder. And in the ultimate grid, you cross. Alok had a different thought on this duty, lust, and shame. But I go by very practical approach. So in my practical approach, that each one of us has a body which has got senses, like Kumar Swami said, a mind which wanders, and an ego. And even an enlightened being is not free from the body. An enlightened being has eyes. And the enlightened being is attracted by the senses, which he is not. And he has to be able to transcend it. So this is my personal experience. It is not that we have to make it look like everything will become, the world will change for an enlightened being. The world doesn't change for an enlightened being. The enlightened being changes in the world. The world doesn't impact the enlightened being. So this week we are moving on this, and if anybody has got a personal, like Alok came forward and said, I think what Alok is saying, just to clarify to all of you, he's saying, I feel, he gave it in that Kabir's Doha, which I don't know by heart, but he said, Jab main tha to hari nahi, ab hari hai to main nahi, which means that as what I give you all the equation, that man minus self equals God. God plus self equals man, which means the moment you add to a soul, the body, mind, and ego, you become a Jivatma. And the moment you realize you are not the body, you're not the mind and ego, then you become the divine soul. And when you become the divine soul, you realize everybody is the soul, and to feel the presence of God everywhere. I don't know Alok enough to give a comment on how much he feels God's presence everywhere. But when I feel that, I can tell you, it's a very beautiful feeling. It's a very beautiful feeling. It brings in us the divine gift of humility. The pride completely disappears. Arrogance disappears. And it gives such a divine humility that we realize we are nothing. We realize we are nothing. We are just a dot. I love what my Guruji used to say. You know what he used to say? He says, we are not even a speck of 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 a speck. Then what do you mean? No. Then he said, Bridget is a speck in her community. The community is a speck in Quebec. Quebec is a speck in Canada. Canada is a speck in North America. North America is a speck in the earth. The earth is a speck in the Milky Way. The Milky Way is a speck in the entire cosmos. So what am I? I am not even a speck of 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 a. You understand, Bridget, what I'm saying? We are insignificant. But when we realize Aham Brahmasmi, when we realize that we are nothing but a manifestation of God, we are divine beings, then we feel the power. So let us quickly get to questions. I think, I'm sorry, we are missing on questions. Kumar Swami, your question, please.
Shivam Guruji.
Shivam,
Sir, any body is a projection of the consciousness.
any body?
Okay? Any body in the living body or any body in the world, material world, it is a projection of the consciousness.
Okay. I don't know where you're coming from. Let me listen to you. Yeah.
So say outside, it is in the outside the body, it is a Brahman. Brahman is a one consciousness. Uska projection is a world appears. So inside us, our body is a projection of the consciousness.
Okay.
So can you explain how it is a projection of the consciousness? Because
From where you got
consciousness.
this? That's why I was waiting to listen to you. Where did you pick up this projection of consciousness? Where did you pick up this? From which scripture you picked up this?
This read some scriptures, sir.
So what?
But actually, not only scriptures, but I understood up to some point.
So what are you?
But further, I could not.
What are you trying to? I'll help you understand. What are you trying to understand? Let me understand. What are you trying to understand?
See, sorry, earlier also, your statement also there, and I have said, but our body is a projection of the consciousness.
Our body is a manifestation of the consciousness.
Projection
You can use the word projection.
and manifestation both are,
Yeah, they are similar words.
but
See,
both are same.
projection may be a little, is used more for a subtle projection. So a movie can be projected. A picture can be projected. A body is a gross physical thing. So it is a manifestation. Okay, continue. Doesn't matter. So therefore, what is your difficulty?
No, consciousness is in the waveform, and this is a material form.
Correct. You're
Our
right.
body is a material form.
You're
So
right.
how it can be a projection? How it can see? What I understood is in the sea, some wave will come. Wave is a projection of the sea. Okay, but
Wave is
wave
no, no.
diluted form of
That is
wave
different.
is a diluted form of the sea.
Kumar Swami, that is slightly different. It is, the terms are different. Wave is the effect. Sea is the cause. Mud is the effect. Matka, the pot is the cause. Gold is the cause. The ring is the effect. Correct? Because of mud, we can make the pot. Without the mud, we cannot make the pot. You agree?
Okay, but
Without
it means it is a dilution state of the the original state. See, suppose the sea, one wave formed, sir. In the
Yeah.
wave, why it is appearing in the wave? Because some air is entered in the water, so some bubbles have come, so it is appearing as in a wave. Is
Correct.
it not?
Correct.
So it is a dilution state of the water. Dilute
you
state
can-
of the water.
It is what you're saying, delusion state. What are you saying?
It is a dilute state of the water, I am telling you.
Okay, but you can say like that. You can also understand it as the water is the cause. The cause is the water. The effect is the wave. Wave, bubbles, froth, all those are the effects of the ocean water. So also, remember we spoke few days back. Can the zygote be formed without the consciousness?
No.
So how is the consciousness coming from where, Kumar Swami? I'm trying to help you to understand, because forget about what the books are talking. No, we are not worried about books, Kumar Swami. We want self-realization. Self-realization means Kumar Swami must understand the point. That is the point.
See, first of all, I want to understand the Maya. Maya means it is a projection of the consciousness. I have to understand the projection of the consciousness, then I can eliminate Maya very easily.
No, Maya
That
is
was a-
not. Maya is not. You should not say Maya is
By
projection of
reason.
consciousness. Maya is something created by the divine, which conceals the truth and projects the myth. Maya is what? It is a good example is the screen. In the movie screen, what does the projector do? The projector will project the movie, and by projecting the movie, it is hiding the screen. You are understanding that much what a projector does?
Yes.
What is Maya doing? Maya is making Kumar Swami. I'm just giving an example, not you. Maya is making, say, Sudeep Bhargava think, I am Sudeep Bhargava. I am this body. I am father. I am husband. I am son. And Maya is concealing the Atma, which actually Sudeep Bhargava is. So Maya has got two powers. It's called Vikshepa and there are two words. One is concealing, one is projecting. There are
Sir,
two words.
Avran.
Avran and Vikshepa. Okay. So these are two. One is Avran and Vikshep. One is projecting, one is concealing. So this is Maya, Kumar Swami. So from Maya, where you want to go next?
No, actually what happened, sir, was everybody is telling that this is bodies and everything is Maya. So this is Maya, actually is your consciousness is actual consciousness is truth. This is Maya. So this body Maya is a projection of your consciousness. So if
The problem, no. You don't
See,
try to listen to
you might have
complicated
understood
things. No, I am understanding what you're saying. What you're saying is not wrong. What you're saying is correct. But the mind is a monkey. The mind will say in such a way, no, Kumar Swami, the mind will confuse completely. Then what to do when the mind completely confuses? Then what to do, Kumar Swami?
So without understanding this thing, it will become a blockage to in our enlightenment, sir.
No. It is
Sir,
no.
but-
So you are already moved very high on the enlightenment grid. So go slow and try to understand. Let us try to simplify. What is the goal in this ask, care, call every day? What are we doing, Kumar Swami? We are trying to simplify, making simple. Correct. So what we are saying, Kumar Swami, Prabhu Satya Jagat Mithya. You understand this?
Yes, that mithya is a Maya.
Everything in this world is a energy appearing as matter. You agree to this?
Agree.
What is making it appear as matter? What is causing it to appear as matter? Maya. Maya
yes.
causing a human being to appear as 30 trillion cells. But in reality, if you take one cell, this is scientific. Scientifically, if you take one cell and you break it into quark, the smallest particle, it is nothing but energy.
Yes.
So now we understand, you are looking like Kumar Swami. But actually you are Atma, you are Paramatma, you are energy. You understand that point clearly?
That understood.
What is making you think you are Kumar Swami? It is Maya.
Ah,
Maya is caused by what, Kumar Swami? Maya is caused by what? It is caused
Maya
by
is called
avidya. By avidya.
the yes, sir.
Okay.
But my question was, sir,
Hmm.
difference between the projection of the conscious and Maya. Projection of the consciousness is our body. When our body, everybody is telling that it is a Maya. You are not this body. You are not this mind. You are this. This is a Maya.
There's no
So-
difference. There is no
Ah.
difference. It is because of Maya it is appearing like this.
So due to ignorance, we are feeling the Maya. That
Correct.
Maya is appearing in a body.
The minute,
Okay, sir.
Kumar
Thank
Swami, the minute there is enlightenment, the Maya will disappear, the ignorance will disappear, the mithya will disappear. You will not see my shirt, you will see the threads.
Okay, it is
Go
a
ahead.
understanding. By understanding only, it is happening on the understanding level only. Because if
Kumar
the body
Swami,
is not
with-
yourself,
with-
it is something else.
No,
It is a Maya.
with folded hands, I'm submitting one thing again to you. This cannot be understood from the mental level. This has to be realized from the spiritual level. As long as you're trying to understand with the mind, no, Kumar Swami, the mind will not let you understand. Why the mind will not let you understand? You know the reason, right? The moment you tell the mind, this is Maya, mind will say, no. Because mind doesn't want to die. Mind wants to continue living as the monkey, me, mind and ego, and take Punarjanam again and again. But we, the Atma, we want liberation. The Jivatma wants to be free from this samsara. So that's why when Alok was saying enlightened, it's not easy to say, I am enlightened. No, we should not say like that. Because the point is, we have realized the truth. We can say, I have realized many truths. But enlightenment is a state of experience. It is not like engineer, doctor, PhD. No, it's not a qualification or a designation or a. Okay. Thank you, Kumar Swami. But I think you still have some pending points. Please come back tomorrow with them, Kumar Swami.
Okay.
I know your mind has still got some thoughts in it.
Gautam.
Gautam, last question.
Yoganand.
Yoganand. Last question. Yoga Narasimhan.
Sir, I was of the opinion that if you travel from one life, one rebirth after one rebirth after one rebirth, you tend to learn something, and then in your current birth, you might be destined to be enlightened. Like suddenly you find this amazing love for God, and then you find a guru, and then things start happening to you in this life. Is it possible that?
Logically, what we understand, Yoga Narasimhan, is like this. See, life is a journey, right? Life is a journey of evolution. You realize that we are all evolving. Now,
Yeah.
suppose at this stage of life, we have reached 90% of enlightenment. We are very close to enlightenment, and we die. What do you think? If we reach 90% of enlightenment, we die, God will make us start from zero again? What do you think?
No, sir. I think you'll continue
You're
from.
right. So you're right. We don't start from zero. But the point is very funny, no? Is this, we don't know where we are starting from. Do you know where you're starting in this life? Do you know?
No, sir.
This is how,
But suddenly the thing for the love for God develops, and
So why do you
suddenly
think-
start-
okay, now you answer my question. Why this love of God has suddenly come? Now you tell me. What do you think?
I think the past karma and
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you're understanding, right? You're understanding the point?
Yeah.
You may not have been in the spiritual path for 20 years. I was not on the spiritual path for 47 years. I was on the religious path. What happened one day, I gave up everything and I went for 2 years into retreat and I gave up everything till one day the light came on. I said, oh, I am not Ravi Melwani. I am the Atma. What made it happen? You think it just happened in this Janma? No, no chance. It has got something to do with the previous lifetimes, which we don't know, which we cannot understand. It can only, what we call, it can only be inferred. When we throw a ball up in the sky, it comes down. We cannot prove gravity, but we can infer. We can understand that something is pulling the ball down. Otherwise, the ball would have gone flying up in the sky. Why the ball did not go up in the sky? Why it came down? Okay. So I think we had an interesting discussion, my dear friends, and I don't like to go beyond 8:35. So with gratitude to all of you, we are moving forward every day, this group. And remember, this journey is a journey. And you keep on walking and walking and walking like a stone cutter, hits and hits and hits, till one day the rock will break. And you feel what Alok said, you feel the presence of God all the time. But is that presence actually, that feeling actually what you want to attain? I don't know. My goal is to help you reach yours. My goal is to help you reach that ultimate goal of enlightenment, of God realization. And I continue to doing my best every day at 8. I look forward. Shivoham, Shivoham. Thank you.